This is Help Wanted, the show that makes your work work for you. I'm Jason Pfeiffer, editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine.
And I'm money expert Nicole Lappin. On Tuesdays, Jason and I answer the helpline and help callers solve their work problems.
And on Thursdays, I give you one way to improve your work and build a career or company you love.
And it starts now.
You have too much work. And so do I. But no problem, right? We know how to grind. We can do one more email, one more task, make one more podcast. It feels good. Good to just get it done. But wait, let's be honest with ourselves. Does it really feel good? Really? No. It feels bad. It feels like you're trapped. It feels like heart-pounding anxiety and a list of sacrifices. Because no matter what you do, there is always more to be done. And no time to get away. No time to breathe, to relax, to recharge, to think about what's next. I feel this. I know you do too. So today, I'm going to share what I have done to settle down and to enjoy life while still being productive. Because, we want both. We don't want to walk away from it. But we need something else. And all of this starts with some incredible advice that I heard from Shonda Rhimes. Well, all right, I didn't talk to Shonda directly, but you'll hear in a second. Shonda Rhimes, as you probably know, has a lot to do. She's got a lot of work. She's an accomplished showrunner and screenwriter. Credits include Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, Bridgerton, and more. To balance all this, she leans on a lesson that she learned early in her career. When Shonda was producing her first season of Grey's Anatomy, she would work until 10 or 11 p.m., but one of her colleagues would go home around 6:30 or 7. I would look at him with such rage, she says. Then her colleague told her something powerful. Shonda, he said, this work will always be there tomorrow. Now I understand, Shonda says. She was talking to Fast Company. I'm just quoting from an article from Fast Company. Now I understand. You're never going to cut down the mountain to make it flat. It's always going to be a mountain. I try to focus on climbing this piece of the mountain and then think about climbing the rest of it later. That's what Shonda said to Fast Company. And I have pictured this visual metaphor ever since. It is just so useful. In front of us, you, me, in front of us is a mountain. And if we try to flatten it, all we will do is exhaust ourselves. And yet the mountain will still remain. True as that may be, I don't know that by itself solves your problem, right? I mean, you can hear about it. You can say that's a nice visual metaphor. Good for Shonda Rhimes. But, there's still a lot of work to do. Who's going to do the work? So let's strategize how to tackle that mountain. You know the phrase, if not now, when? That's a phrase that's credited to Hillel the Elder from about 2,000 years ago as he urges people to advocate for and improve themselves. And, it makes regular cultural appearances in novels, movies, album titles, and more. But whatever. Anyway, point is, I love this thinking. It's a great phrase. If not now, when? If something is important to you, then do it now. Why wait? But practically speaking, we cannot always think this way. Chill out, Hillel the Elder. Not everything can happen now. There is literally not enough time in the day. And just as importantly, not enough energy in our bodies. So let's revise the phrase, shall we? Here's the old one. If not now, when? Here's a new one. It doesn't have to happen now. You just need to know when. Now, why is that better? Well, let's return to Shonda Rhimes' metaphor. She described work as a mountain, which is to say a large, dense, singular mass. When we are overwhelmed, we feel the enormity of our work. All demands become lumped together. But that is not actually how work works. Work is not actually like a mountain. Work is more like a pyramid of blocks, I guess. I mean, picture a mountain. A mountain is this big singular mass. And what is a pyramid of blocks? It's smaller blocks built into kind of the same shape as a mountain. Work is actually an interconnected series of smaller component parts. And this means, unlike a mountain, it can be broken apart. You can take those pieces apart. And once you see them separately, individually, you can decide when each task gets accomplished. Let's look at your week ahead, for example. Is it busy? I bet it is. Mine is. If you are feeling overwhelmed, then try this. List out everything you need to do this week. All the big, important, pressing, time-consuming, energy-sucking projects. Now look at your calendar. Where are the openings? When do things get done? Find them. Where's an hour here, an hour there, 2 hours here, 2 hours there? Where are those things? And then start assigning the tasks that you have, those big component parts that are part of what looks like a mountain, start assigning them to those times. I find it helpful to literally chart this out. I make 3 categories. Number 1, the task. Number 2, the deadline. Number 3, when it's going to get done. And then I just start assigning it. All right, well, I'm going to record that podcast. When do I need to do that? Well, okay, it comes out on Thursday, so I got to produce it by Tuesday, which means, there's a half an hour there on Monday. I will do that then. Like that. I know. This is not rocket science. It's not even bottle rocket science, but it felt like a revelation for me. And maybe it does for you too. This helped me visualize my week ahead, and it helped me understand my work differently. Because I used to think, I have so much work to do, and how am I supposed to get it all done now? But today I think I have a lot of work to do, but I can get it all done in time. It is about how you use your time. For example, this is what I do. So I have this newsletter that comes out every Tuesday. I have a couple of podcasts that I have to record. I have different things that I have to write. There's usually different tasks for Entrepreneur Magazine where I'm the editor-in-chief. That's a lot. And so at the beginning of every week, or sometimes the end of a week as I look to the next week, I think about what are the big things that need to get done. Some of them are just systematized already. I always know, for example, that this podcast that you are listening to right now, me doing a solo episode on Help Wanted that's going to run on a Thursday, I record these on Mondays or Tuesdays, depending on when I have the time. Right now, I'm doing it on a Tuesday at 12:10 p.m. So you're going to hear this 2 days after I record it. And sometimes there are tasks that are more floating around, and I just know, that big thing needs to get done next week, and I'm not going to be able to do it in one sitting. It's probably going to take 3 sittings, and my mind should be really fresh, so why don't I make sure that I do them in the morning? So let's see, can I find an hour on Tuesday, an hour on Wednesday, an hour on Friday, and I will break it up and schedule it then? Yes, that's how I do it. This helps me avoid a panic. It tells me ahead of time, not scrambling in the middle of it, ahead of time. This is what you need to do. This is when they will get done. And just as importantly, it also tells me you don't need to be working all the time. Because that's the really critical part of this. If you know when your work will get done, you don't have to worry about doing it all the time. You can instead devote some of that time to everything and anything else. Friends, family, hobbies, a walk, a quiet moment, whatever gives you the energy to do the work later. Now, whenever I struggle to pull myself away from work, I ask myself these questions. Do I know what I need to do? And am I making the time to do it? If the answers are yes and yes, then I go and enjoy something else, knowing, as Shonda Rhimes does, that the mountain will still be there for me later. It doesn't have to happen now. You just need to know when. And that, as I mentioned actually a moment ago, comes from my newsletter. My newsletter is called One Thing Better. Each week, one way to be more successful and satisfied at work and build a career or company you love. I read them here on Help Wanted, but if you want to get them early and also explore a community that I'm building with my newsletter readers, then you can find that at onethingbetter.email. That is a web address. Just type it into a browser, onethingbetter.email. And, if you're feeling stressed right now and don't have the time for that, that's fine. Just make sure you know when the time is. Help Wanted is a production of Money News Network. Help Wanted is hosted by me, Jason Pfeiffer.
And me, Nicole Lappin. Our executive producer is Morgan Lavoie. If you want some help, email our helpline at helpwanted@moneynewsnetwork.com for the chance to have some of your questions answered on the show. And follow us on Instagram at Money News and TikTok at Money News Network for exclusive content and to see our beautiful faces. Maybe a little dance.
Oh, I didn't sign up for that.
All right, well, talk to you soon.